Hi, everyone. This is Gilberto from Maverick Media Lab, and I'm here with Karen Wedvik. She's one of our clients, and she's going to be giving us an honest overview of what it's like working with Maverick Media Lab. She's already closed a couple of transactions. She's going to give us honest feedback on how it's been going with the realtor appointments and, deals closed and all that good stuff. So, Karen, I really appreciate you joining on and making this video with us.
Sure, no problem.
Awesome. So just so like whoever's watching this kind of has an overview of who you are, can you kind of give a little bit about your background and you mentioned you've been in the industry for a while, like how you got into it, all that stuff?
Sure. I've been in the industry over 25 years and I've moved around to a couple different companies. I recently moved a couple years ago and had a non-compete clause. So that meant I couldn't really go after my current customer base. So I went to this direction and thought, you know what, if I can't go after my old customers, I'm going to go after new realtors to try to create new customers. And that's what prompted me to sign up with the service.
Got it. And so it sounds like at the time that you started working with us, that's where you were making that transition right around there. What were there other things that you were doing like before? Like, did you already kind of attempt on your own to call up the realtors, or were you kind of already maybe going to open houses? What the situation looked like before?
I was already emailing. I had a network of realtors that I worked with and was emailing them, and I was still getting business from them. I needed to branch out. I also am now able to lend in a larger territory than I could before. So I was able to let the team know, hey, not only do I want to, look to help realtors in my immediate market, but I can pick somewhere an hour this far away from me, either north, south, east, whatever. So it was able to expand my area where I'd never had the ability before or the time. So that was a big perk for me as well.
Got it. You mentioned time too. So was that also like some of the things like kind of things stopping you as well from growing that partnership? Like I'm assuming you had like files to work with and realtors that were, you were nurturing currently. So was that also something?
That was a huge part of it. We were right in the middle of all these refinances, combination of all the refis and the low rates with the purchase market, a crazy purchase market where you're writing 20 different pre-approval letters for the same customer because they can't get an offer accepted right away. So time was very limited for me, and I appreciated the ability for someone else to make those outbound calls for me. And I only wanted to work with realtors that wanted to work with me. And that's what your team did, was they scrubbed that for me. So when I did have the call with the realtor, they were already interested and already knew what this was about versus me having to call and explain it and waste their time if they're not interested.
Right. So kind of just having more choice, right? Like more choice with like the realtors that you want to work with, but at the same time, they're also, willing, also open to having a partnership with you as well.
Right.
Shortcutting that time that it would have taken on your own to do that. And like now that we've gotten, so you've already gotten some the appointments and meetings rolling in, like what do the results look like in terms of like the appointments? I know you've said that you've gotten some lunch and learns and some closed deals. Can you talk about like some of the results that you've seen with us?
Sure. So I've had closed a couple closings already from brand new realtors that I'd never worked with before. I've had amazing conversations with probably 100 realtors over the last few months. So I've created a group in my email of realtors that I've accumulated. And every week I send them my own email, our newsletter from the company. They get that every week from me, but these were all realtors that agreed to get it, want to get it. So I'm now continuously in front of them. And I did a lunch and learn for a whole group of them. The other realtors have introduced me to realtors in their company that weren't even part of this, but now I'm getting referrals from those realtors. And some of them are realtors in other states because they might be with a company that is networked with other realtors and they're on a team with other realtors in other states. And I happen to be able to lend in all 50 states. So it really is, the potential is endless once you make that initial connection.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. And one thing I hadn't thought about like initially when we started doing this, like way back when, was the like kind of a multiplier effect where when you meet one realtor, like it's a transaction that you do with them, and then there's a listing agent attached to that, or like they start referring to like others, or you might be like a brokerage, and then they
Right.
bring you into the lunch and learns. It's kind of like this kind of multiplier effect that
Yep.
happens with one realtor. It could lead to so many more
Right.
introductions. Was
Right.
there also other things like that as well that kind of was like unexpected for you as well, like other referrals, like maybe from other industry professionals or anything like that?
Yeah, it was, I would get a phone call from someone and they'd say, I got your name from so and so. And I was like, I don't even know who that is. And then when we get to talking, I'd say, well, how did you give them my name? And they said, oh, well, this person in my office told me to call you because you had mentioned that you have this grant program to offer. Or, it's really just as long as you have something of value to give and you follow up and you're, consistent, they
Mm,
eventually word will spread. But to me, the cool part was when I would say, maybe I can't help you today, but like, is it okay if I keep you on? And they're just like, yes, please keep me informed and keep me in the loop. So it's just been a great, it's enriching process to help gather information, give them the information, and then know that they want to hear it. It's the welcoming part that you guys take care of right away, is they're open to that, which makes it so much easier to transition into
yeah,
the future with them. So
exactly. Instead of having to pummel through like hundreds of calls to like finally get one that like agrees to a call and then like having
yep.
it and possibly even like not showing. I get what
Yep.
you mean.
Mhm.
And apart from the time aspect, what's also been like your favorite part about the program? Has there been other aspects of it too, that's kind of stood out to you, like as we've been working together these months?
I like the software, the CRM program. Um, the way, I can always look back if I forgot, oh, when did I talk to that person? I can go back to the calendar. It's got all my, I can open that contact person and see when our last meeting was, see any notes that maybe I made about them. So that's really helpful. Um, in addition to that, it's just been nice, not only the time factor, but a lot of the realtors would ask me, how did you pick me? And it's a way for me to compliment them and say, well, I had certain parameters. I wasn't going to just talk to Joe Blow. I wanted
Yeah,
someone with so many years experience or, whatnot. And that made them feel kind of flattered that I chose them.
yeah.
Um, so that was kind of a neat twist to it as well. So,
Yeah, one thing too is it kind of makes you look more established too, like you have a team, because we usually like
mhm,
are calling like on behalf of you, right? Like on your team.
mhm,
So that's something that we've heard from other clients too, is like, yeah, that kind of realtors were impressed, or kind of really sets a really good impression that like an
mhm,
assistant is doing it on your behalf, right? Like
mhm.
like it makes you that much more like it's not just you cold calling them, right? Like
Right.
you choosing them. It's them
Yep.
like getting a call from your assistant and then you hopping on with them.
Right.
So that's kind of in line with that as well. And then I'm sure like, over the years you've gone and like you've seen a lot of marketing things out there. You probably tried a lot of things in the past. Like why did you choose to work with us compared to like maybe like the thousands of different options that might land in your inbox like all the time? What made you decide to work with us?
Well, I've tried in the past buying leads of customers, and I found that, you know, three quarters, well, more than that, a lot of them just turn into nothing, or they turn into problematic credit that just kind of takes a lot of your time. And this was, I think you can get way more out of, you have one solid realtor that could be endless transactions in the future. When you go after one customer, that's just one transaction, maybe two if they buy another house 5 years later. This is, you could get 50 deals out of one realtor. So to me, there's just more potential out of the source, the focal point, than
Mm,
chasing down customers. So that was a
yeah,
big part of it. The guarantee that you guarantee so many appointments per month, that was important. So a
yeah.
couple
I
of those.
always find it I always find it interesting when someone that's already been in the industry for a while and has tried different things, like you kind of almost can share your experiences on like, hey, do this instead of like going down the buying leads route. Because I know whenever I hop with someone who's been in the industry for like at least 10 plus years, they almost always have tried buying leads, and like I haven't gotten one person that said like something positive about that. They always say like, yeah, after trying this for X amount of times or multiple companies, like, I found that, realtors are the way to go. It's usually like the the common pattern that I see across all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for someone who might be watching this video, like they might be like skeptical, or like maybe they've tried like buying leads in the past, or they've tried like other marketing things and like they've kind of been burned or hasn't worked out. What would you say to that person about this program right here, like to that person who's on the fence considering work with us?
I guess I would just say, be specific with what you're looking for. Your team will adjust to whatever it is that you need. And it wasn't perfect the first time I did this with the communication between, because you don't know what's going to work and what isn't. You don't know really what you're looking for. But the nice part was, if something wasn't quite working right, you adjust really fast and it gets fixed. So I would say, someone on the fence, if you're busy enough, great. But I would say most people in our industry could use more business right now. So, why not work with people that actually want to work with you? And that's what you end up having. If anything, it's just developed new relationships, for my future business. I mean, I have realtors now, the sky's the limit. You can expand your network however far you want it to go. Your team will just do whatever you ask them to do. So.
Awesome. I love it. I really appreciate the feedback, and then also sharing your time with us as well. I know it's the end of the month, so it's, like you're not busy and like always available. So I really appreciate your time and also sharing your honest feedback about how everything's been. And I'm super glad that you've seen like those results. I always show this to the team as well. They get super motivated knowing that, what they've done and the appointments they've set is something. So I really appreciate you, Karen.
You're welcome. Thank you.